UFC 312 takes place this weekend, and in this video I'm going to be going through my best and most favorite bets for the entire card. And every pay-per-view I like to bring on a sharp guest, someone that provides the greatest bet slips I've ever seen. And in this video, I brought on my good friend Goofier Deer, one of the sharpest guys in the betting discords that I peruse around. So Goofier Deer, would you like to give yourself a little introduction before we get into the bets?
Sure thing. My name is Marco, actually, otherwise known as Goofy Deer. I actually train mixed martial arts and kickboxing and taekwondo. Um, I have watched the sports ever since where Doom got knocked on UFC 198, and ever since then I have been watching the sport religiously, so I know what I'm talking about.
All right, sounds good. I like to talk about UFC with someone that knows what they're talking about when it comes to the UFC. So, without further ado, let's get into the bets. The first fight we like to discuss on this card is Salkilld taking on Anshul Jubli, and in this fight, Anshul Jubli is the plus, I believe he has reached plus 500 in some books. Salkilld, UFC rookie, coming off the Dana White Contender Series, coming here to fight in his hometown. Me and Goofier have a lean on this fight. Mine stronger than his. I will let Goofier Deer take the floor. What do you got on this
Thank
fight?
you. So this is gonna be a tough fight, and actually, based on what I've seen from the tapes, um, there's a lot of hype on Quillen, but he hasn't been tested yet. He only has won his Contender Series fight, and although Jubilee has I mean, he had a bad blast fight. He seems to have recovered well enough. I mean, it's like almost a year and a half, and I'm not saying he wins, but you can definitely bet on the spread. I believe should be plus money because
Yeah.
he nobody thinks he's gonna win.
All right, sounds good. So, sounds like Goofier Deer has Jubli with plus 3.5, meaning he just needs to win a round and you win your bet as long as Jubli doesn't get finished. However, for me, I have a unit on Anshul Jubli himself straight up plus 430. I don't care. I think Jubli has a great chance to win this fight. I think the only types of fighters that can actually give Jubli problems are people that are strikers, really, mainly strikers. Salkilld shot for 22 takedowns in his Dana White Contender Series fight. Really exposed the type of fighter he is. He's very well-rounded, but he's not elite in any one area of MMA. At least Mike Breeden against Jubli, like, he had very good striking and he could press forward. Salkilld, there's not much for me to really say about his MMA game up until this point. He does press forward, but he's really pressing forward for takedowns. I think Jubli, that's his domain. He likes the grappling. He likes being close together. Jubli really struggles when it's against a power puncher, someone that's going to give him trouble on the feet. I don't think Salkilld is that type of fighter. So with that being said, I think you have all the reason to bet Jubli, other than potentially his heritage, which is I see a lot of people. That's like the main reason they're fading Jubli.
You gotta fade them.
I'm not gonna say nothing. I don't agree with it. I'm not the racist one. I'm the one betting on Shil Jubli. Let's get into the next bet. Next fight on the card we're going to discuss is Steele taking on Rong. Now, in this fight specifically, I myself do not have any bets placed. I think that Steele is just going to have his way with Rong. I have him on my Tapology as a round 2 KO. He's excellent wrestling, excellent grappling, but I think when you have excellent wrestling and excellent grappling, your opponent is going to keep his hands down to, avoid the takedowns, and that's going to lead to big power shots, big overhands from Cody, and I think he puts Rong out of there. As for bet, I got nothing, but it sounds like Mr. Deer does have something. Mr. Deer, would you please enlighten us what you have for this fight?
Sure thing. I did the tape research. Rong Zhu is not bad, but he's gonna struggle with the wrestling. He is tough. I believe he will. If he ate that elbow from Padilla, I don't think he's gonna get knocked out. I'm gonna take Cody Steele via decision. I'm gonna sprinkle, half a unit on it, but I think Cody Steele will win. a decision. He's gonna use his wrestling, and if that doesn't work, he's gonna strike. Rong, as you mentioned before, he might have his hands low, so just to avoid the takedowns. So it's gonna leave him open for a lot of hooks. I don't think Cody Steele's gonna knock him out. If gun to my head, Cody Steele decision.
Okay, so Cody Steele decision right now on FanDuel plus 290. So that's pretty good juicy odds. If you were to double it up and do Cody Steele by KO or decision, that would be minus 120. And then Cody Steele by sub or decision is plus 120. So all those bets seem pretty valuable. At the end of the day, I don't think Cody Steele is a bad parlay piece. I feel like you just shove him in a parlay. You
Definitely,
should be
he's a
good.
good parlay piece. Yeah, and I think he's one of the most confident ones to parlay because Rongshu, his I mean, he on his topology it says that he's younger, like 24. He's not 24. That dude is not 24. So Cody Steele is younger. He did look very decent on his Dana One Contender Series, although he barely wrestled. Um, but looking at the tape, he's a really decent wrestler. Shouldn't have any trouble with Rongchu.
I agree. And then also to double down on what you said about his age, he is turning 25 in a month, Rongzu, and he somehow has 31 professional fights. So yeah. Next fight on the card we're gonna break down is Kong Wang taking on Bruna, Brazil. Now, I have a take on this fight. It's spicy. I've been saying it all over social media for the past week. However, before I give my take, I gave my take first last time. I'm gonna allow the floor to Deer here. Deer, what is your bet on Bruna Brazil versus Kong Wang?
Bruna Brazil, just take it. Honestly, she wins via whatever she wants. She has been she has been training with the fighting nerds for a while, and recently on her Instagram you can follow her. She has shown her training, and she's doing takedowns, she's doing jiu-jitsu, she is doing cage work. So I believe they might come with a grapple heavy plan. However, she does have really um, strong head kicks and really just decent striking. um, Kong usually gets comfortable after landing two hits. Like she will land like a jab and a straight right, and she will drop her hands a little bit to her waist. That's how she got caught with the head kick against Gabriela Fernandez. And when you have your both of your hands low, um, you kind of get this. You cannot difference which one is which when you're trying to block. So you might try to block with your left or with your right, and you were trying to use the other one to counter some shit. That's how she got head kicked last time. The other thing is that Bruna also likes to do a lot of body work with her kicks and then go for the high kick. That's how she got her knockout on the Dana White Contender Series. And that's why I feel like getting her money line is really good. She was like around
Plus
plus 300.
350 right now, yeah.
It was plus 300 starting the week, and right now, today at evening it was plus 380, and now it's back to plus 300. So there is going some money on Bruna. I think people are realizing that this might not be as easy as everybody thinks it will. But yeah, I think Bruna moneyline is really good. I'm not confident on picking a sub or KO or decision because honestly, I see her winning on the striking. I see her winning on the ground or maybe a decision. So yeah, moneyline is my bet. I already put a lot of money there, so hopefully everything will go right.
Hopefully everything will go right is crazy.
Yeah,
Oh man. Okay. That's so funny. I'm laughing, but not because I disagree. I actually wholeheartedly agree. But the problem is she started the week as plus 300 Bruna Brazil. And somehow people watch tape on both these fighters like we have, and they'd still bet Kong Wang at minus 400 because she's now minus 500. So that is a cause for concern. However, I'll give my spiel. Bruna Brazil, there is one red flag that I dislike, and it's the fact that she's gotten finished multiple times in her losses, and those finishes have mostly been by KO. However, the one good thing about Bruna Brazil is that something that Deer did not say is that she fought a similar archetype fighter 2 fights ago, Loma Lukbumi. Okay, not saying Loma Lukbumi has KO power like Kong Wang has, but they have similar styles in the fact that they're mainly Muay Thai, mainly kickboxer base. So against Loma Lukbumi, Bruna Brazil did lose, okay, but she only lost 29-28. She won a clear round on the judges' scorecards. She was just getting worked in the clinch against the cage. Now, in this fight, I don't think Kong Wang is going to utilize that game plan. I don't think Kong Wang is going to try to push Bruna against the cage. I think Kong Wang is going to try to keep this a standing affair. I think Bruna Brazil is going to be the one chasing takedowns. I think there actually is a slight chance that Kong Wang can find a guillotine submission with Bruna Brazil diving in for a takedown, because if Bruna Brazil is not having success on the feet, I think she's going to go all in on takedowns, panic takedowns, Kong Wang submission. So that's scary. Okay, it's also scary that Bruna Brazil has been KO'd multiple times. However, if you just take away the fear, you look at the facts. The facts is this. Kong Wang got knocked out and then submitted in the same fight, and that happened 2 months ago. That's actually crazy. I didn't even know it was 2 months. 2 months ago. So, and she's going up against someone who is a very capable women's mixed martial artist. She's not a bottom tier women's mixed martial artist. She's someone that could potentially be ranked in this division very soon. So for all those reasons, the odds just are crazy. I can see Kong Wang, guillotine, because Bruna Brazil, panic shoots because she's not working the striking. I can see a Kong Wang maybe a very dusty decision. That would be horrific. A very 29-28 close decision. But other than those two outcomes, I'm not really seeing Bruna getting KO'd, so all the units on Bruna Brazil plus 350. That's my spiel. Next fight on the card that we would like to discuss from a betting perspective is Tom Nolan taking on Vyacheslav Borshev. Now, in this fight, I do actually have 2 different bets on this. I have 0.8 units on Slava. Actually, I apologize. I have 0.8 units on the over 1.5, which is even money. Okay. And I have 0.2 units on Slava to win by decision plus 500. So altogether, I have 1 unit placed on this fight. I strategically placed it on most of it on the over, and the chance that my pick is actually correct, which I think it will be, I put the rest of the unit on Slava by decision. My basis is it's going to be a striking affair, right? When 2 power strikers come together and one of them is really rangy, most of the time they kind of just stand there and stare at each other. Now, Slava, he does like to enter the pocket very dangerously. He throws lead body shots, which is, not advisable, because if you throw a lead body shot, you leave yourself open for hits, and Tom Nolan does have a long reach, so that is a little scary. There is a chance that Tom Nolan actually does go to the wrestling in this one. Slava has 0 chance of that. Tom Nolan, however, he's 24 years old. You don't think someone in his gym was like, hey, let's work takedowns in this fight. That's your main path to victory. Just take Slava down and you can win. You don't think that's something that was being said in his camp? His camp also knows he's super chinny. I can see Tom Nolan low-key winning a decision and it being the worst fight of all time. So, over 1.5, I'm pretty confident in. As for Slava winning, a little less confidence, but plus 500, I'll take that any day of the week. He's the better striker in a striking battle. So that's my take. Deer, take the floor.
I definitely have similar feelings. However, I don't think Tom Nolan is that smart. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think he's that smart. And add to the fact that he comes from a culture in Australia where they're kind of like standing bank type of guys. Tom Nolan has been just awful to look at. I would agree with you if he has shown us any progress in his fighting style. He fights the same. Like ever since his Contender Series, he has fought the same. He has gotten hurt in all of his fights. How do you have that much range and still get hurt? That's insane, you know? Um,
It's
I
great.
actually like Vyacheslav Volkachev to win, you know, just to win. Moneyline, he's like minus 125,
Mhm.
1.80 for the rest of the world. And I think he's gonna win either a decision or a KO. I think I'm leaning more to the KO just for the fact that Nolan likes to rush a bit with his chin in the air. Um, and one thing I noticed is that Slav, although he likes to get in the pocket, he does retreat a little bit when he's getting bum rushed, but he does look for the counter, and that's why I'm going to go with Slap. He's going to get the counter and hurt him, either get the stoppage or a clear 30-27 victory, or maybe a 29, 28, because as you said, he is a little bit slower, but I don't think he has declined yet. Um, Last performance was against a very tough James Lontop, and I know people might see that he got like a split decision, but James is he's really tough, and he comes forward. I mean, he's called Goku for a reason. So I'm gonna take Slap via just to win at money line.
All right, sounds good. Next fight on the card we're going to discuss from a betting perspective is Jake Matthews taking on Francisco Prado. Now, in this one, it seems to me that the deer and the fins differ on the outcome of this fight. Now, I won't tell you what I have picked. I'll let Deer take the floor. Deer, what do you got in this one?
Jake Matthews. Jake Matthews. Why? Because Prado is kind of dumb, and he has all the heart. He has all the heart. You might. I could have sworn he was Mexican with all the heart he's shown on his last fights, but he's not. He just has it. He's greedy. He comes forward, but he leaves his chin on the air a lot, and he doesn't have like a good game plan coming in. We saw it in the Daniel Hoover fight. Instead of trying to wrestle with him or get him against a cage, he was just eating jabs and small, counters. I didn't like what I saw, and he's already small for the lightweight division. He's going up on welterweight for this fight. Jake Matthews is pretty tough as well, and in my opinion, he looked phenomenal against Phil Rowe, and I actually picked Phil to win that fight based on recent performances, and also uh, you know just I thought Phil was gonna shin him, not gonna lie, but he proved me wrong. He used his wrestling. He was winning the striking exchanges, and I just see Jake Matthews actually pressuring Prado. I think Prado's gonna think he's hot shit, and he's just gonna get outboxed by Jake Matthews. And even if, let's say, Prado by miracle is the better striker, the genius striker that we all thought he was, not. Um, let's say he is. Matthews can just wrestle his ass. Like Phil Rowe tried to fight inside the pocket, and Matthews just took him down. He looked pretty good recently, and I mean, a lot of people bring up the Matthew Semmelsberger fight where he got tagged a lot. That was in 2022, sorry. And I've seen him, the tape. I think he's pretty focused for this one. I'm gonna take him to win via decision.
Deer is on Jake Matthews. It sounds like he's on his decision. If you were to take Jake Matthews by decision, that would be the odds on FanDuel. Jake Matthews decision plus 115. Jake Matthews himself is minus 250. So that kind of shows you that they really think that Jake Matthews' main path to victory here is decision. His KO is plus 600. His sub is plus 700. So they really don't think Jake Matthews has any finishing equity in this fight at all. So let me get into my take. I wholeheartedly disagree with the deer here. I do have Francisco Prado. I got a unit at plus 185, and honestly, I'll give you a short breakdown. So Francisco Prado fought Daniel Zellhuber 11 months ago at lightweight, okay? And it took him a full year before he got back into the UFC octagon. He makes the jump in the weight. He's been posting pictures on his social media about how he looks absolutely shredded and jacked. It's not a bet like him moving up in weight. It feels like that's where he wants to be. He's opening up the main card. You think that the Dana White and UFC are like, oh, let's put Jake Matthews as the opening fight of the main card because he's going to grind his way to a decision. I don't think that's the case. I actually think that UFC brass put this together to get a highlight KO out of Francisco Prado. Jake Matthews got knocked down three times in one fight by Matthew Semelsberger, who's no longer on the UFC roster. You did say it happened in 2022. I understand that. But that was only 3 fights ago. So is that because Jake Matthews is inactive, or is that because he stinks? I don't know. You can tell me that. The only wins he has since then are against Darius Flowers, who's not in the UFC, and against Phil Rowe, who probably shouldn't be in the UFC. And against Phil Rowe, he clearly lost a round. It was definitely 1-1 heading into round 3, and Phil Rowe just lacked IQ to win that fight. Now in this one, you want to take underdogs that are going to move forward, underdogs that will fight for your money, underdogs that have a chance to find a finish. And I think Francisco Prado is all of those things. Jake Matthews has been in the UFC for 30 plus years, I think, maybe 35. I don't know. A very long time. He's had infinite UFC fights. He has yet to break through. We thought he would break through when he knocked out Andre Fialho all those fights ago. And then in the very next fight, Matthew Semelsberger turns him into a highlight reel. And then the very next fight, it's Darius Flowers. And then the fight after that, it's Michaels Morales, who he had no chance against. And then the fight after that, the most previous one, Phil Rowe, who is miles away from the ranking. So with all that being said, the hungry underdog, the guy that has more finishing equity by a long slide, and the fact that the major favorite has no finishing equity, and we're trusting that he's going to hunt for takedowns. We're trusting that he's going to pull a Khabib game plan. That's a lot of trust. Now, Prado, you still have to trust he'll find the KO, but I mean, you don't got to trust it that much. That's what he does. Jake Matthews, fight by fight, you look at each fight, it's almost like he's fighting a different game plan in each fight. Like, he's not, like, there's nothing to really get behind for Jake Matthews. Like, oh, I know he's going to shoot for 6 takedowns. And that's not the case. Prado, I at least know, is going to get in the pocket and, like, at least I know that. So I'll feel better going to sleep if Prado loses and I bet him than if Matthews loses and I bet him. That's my opinion. So, yeah.
Okay, we can agree to disagree. How right now?
No, fuck now. For the last 3 fights of the card, I'm losing my guy Deer, so we have to speed run these fights. So with that being said, Tallison Teixeira taking on Justin Tafa. In this fight, I actually have 2 bets, very similar to the Slava Tom Nolan idea with long-rangey striking battle, and they're going to stare at each other. Same idea in this one. Justin Tafa is 0-3 to the decision. So with that being said, I bet 0.8 units on over 1.5 at plus money, plus 100. And I bet 0.2 units on Tallison Teixeira to win the fight by decision, plus 950. That's my logic. Deer, go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tallison Teixeira. Justin sucks. It's not Justin against Tallison, it's Justin against his cardio. And he's not gonna knock Tallison out. We have seen Tallison on his Dana White Contender series. He took the hits pretty good. And I mean, even though it was a pretty short fight, it's heavyweight. I believe he has the ability to take it to a decision or a KO, actually, because Justin just drops his hands after the round 1. So yeah, give me Tallison to win this. But whatever he wants.
Sounds good. Next fight we're talking about is Weili Zhang taking on Tatiana Suarez. In this one, I got blank. Deer, take the floor.
Weili, even though she hasn't been as active as I would like, she is healthy. She seems to have entered her prime right now. Her last fight was a bit competitive, but that's what happens when you're at that level. And Tatiana gives me Mike Davis vibes. Everybody thinks she's hot shit, and I just see, you gotta go into this. You gotta go and see a little bit more outside the performance. She had cancer. She had like some dislocated discs and a long history of more injuries. That to me is not good. She has 2-year ring rust. She's not gonna win. Weili Shang is gonna win either by KO or by decision.
Okay, sounds good. So I wholeheartedly agree. Weili Zhang is my pick. I have a unit on her at plus 100. She opened at a minus 250, and the line got insta-steamed, and now Tatiana Suarez is somehow the favorite. I don't understand it. Tatiana Suarez has not fought in 18 months. She's fought twice in the last 4 years. She's fought 3 times in the last 6 years. So that's enough for me. Tatiana Suarez is also 34. She's not a spring chicken. So it's not like Weili's fighting like the up-and-coming high-end prospect that's been in the works. Like, she's 34 years old. Tatiana Suarez, yes, she's trained with Sean Strickland. She trained with Patrick Mix. I understand all that. I am not ready to just pick her / bet her in this scenario. Ring rust. Weili is just an established champ fighting good people in the division and smoking them. Should have had a round 1 sub in her last fight, and if she did, she'd probably be minus 300 in this one. So that's all for you for the co-main event. That brings us to the main event of UFC 312. We got Dricus du Plessis taking on Sean Strickland for the middleweight title, and in this one, I got Sean Strickland, 1 unit, plus 175. I think the first fight was razor close. You can make the argument Sean won. You can make the argument DDP won. I don't care. I personally think that Sean Strickland did win. That's not why I'm betting this one. I feel like rematches always go differently. Rematches always go not exactly how you expected them. And Sean Strickland, okay, is a decision merchant. He's the decision king. In the first fight, I feel like if there was no headbutt, I think Sean Strickland wins the fight because the headbutt caused massive damage on his face, and that kind of made the judges, oh my God, look at his face. It looks so damaged. But meanwhile, look at DDP's face. His face was not bruised because of a headbutt. His face was bruised because he was getting brutalized by a jab over the course of 5 rounds. His eye almost closed, and somehow he scratches away a decision. In this one, I think Strickland keeps the range, keeps the jab. I think DDP has no sub equity at all. So if we think he's going to win, it's going to be by KO or decision. I don't think he KOs Sean. And Strickland is the decision master. So that's my take. Deer?
That's actually a good take. I think Strickland has a lot of chance here. So if you take him at these odds, I think it's a really good bet. However, I will pick Dirkus. The reason why I'm going to take him is because it feels like the universe is on his side. He shouldn't win. He fights so retarded, but he wins. So also add to the fact that Strickland has shown that he has staph infection, and it seems that Rick already is fucking with him. He did show that on the press conference, but I'm gonna take Dricus, maybe like a parlay piece. I'm not gonna straight bet him. Um, Maybe like a long shot. If either one of those, I see either one of those winning. I do see the vision on Sean Strickland. He's definitely better than what people give him for. So, but for me, Dricus du Plessis is gonna win. I think he's gonna get. I think he's gonna get the KO, in my opinion. I think Sean is gonna, kind of sleep, and Dricus is gonna land a fucking knee or something.
All right, sounds good. So Sean Strickland right now is plus 164 on FanDuel. Dricus by KO is plus 320 on FanDuel. Seems like Deer is leaning that direction. So yeah, that's our takes for the main event. Thank you for watching up until this point. Thank you for getting to the end of another episode of Fins Chats. I hope you enjoyed this one. I brought my guy Deer along for the ride. Last pay-per-view, we had Stop. This time, we got Deer. Next time, we're going to have someone else. Who knows who it's going to be, but Deer, I appreciate you coming on Fins Chats. I appreciate you chatting with the Fins. And you have any final closing words for the Fins fam?
No, nothing. I'm actually, training. Hopefully, one day you're gonna give a prediction on my on one of my fights. So um, I hope everything goes well for you and the channel. I really did like your picks and your arguments, even though I disagree a lot with you. But
Even though
yeah,
I'm
keep
on the
it up.
losing end most of the time, but that's okay.
Yeah, but you know what? Keep it up. I feel like you're owed a big win here, and let's get it. Bruna Brazil, she's my luck of the week. Let's get it.
And Sean Jubli, thank you for watching. Have a great day, Savages.